Welcome everyone. Happy Friday. I hope you are having a great week so far. I am just trying to get everything set up here for the time being. Let me see what is going on here. So today I'm going to be going live on Instagram and going live in my Facebook group. So I've had a lot of people that have been wanting to see both, so I said I would just go live on both today. So just getting that set up. Welcome again. I'm glad you've all joined me. I hope you're having a great start to your week so far. If you're just joining me, I was talking about that I'm going to be going live today in my Instagram and in my Facebook group. I've had a lot of people asking for both of those if I could go live so they could catch them in either spot. So I'm doing that today, and I hope that helps a lot of you view things a little bit better. So we're going to jump in because we have a lot to discuss today. We're going to be talking about top NAP facts, some of the biggest NAP questions, some of the biggest NAP facts, along with answering your question and answers. Your answers and me, your questions and me giving you answers. I feel all a little out of it today. So I'm going to be answering, I've got a lot of questions, really good questions. I'm going to be answering those as well. If you are joining me and you are on Instagram, it would be great if you do have Facebook. I have a private Facebook group called Serenity Sleepers Sleep Squad. If you are there, I suggest you join that because I have a ton of information in this group, from blog posts to units all about sleep, like newborn sleep, naps, toddler sleep, along with lives, questions. People ask questions often and I answer them there. So if you are not in my group, Serenity Sleeper Sleep Squad, I would highly recommend you go over and ask to join that group, just so you can stay up to date on the most information there. So we're going to chat first about some of the biggest NAP facts and talk a little bit further about them. So there's going to be a lot of information here, so make sure and jot things down. If you have more questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you. But the first thing that I want to talk about is we're not going to be forcing nap schedules too soon. A lot of times, as soon as a baby's born, a lot of people are like, how do I get them on a schedule? I need them on a nap schedule. I need them to nap better. And the reality is it's just not possible at a newborn age to have them on strict schedules. So when we're talking about newborns and young babies, we don't want to force those schedules, because what that means is if you're trying to put them on strict schedules, you're going to be missing their wake windows. You're going to have a fussy baby. You're going to have a baby that's not always going to sleep well, because their internal clocks are much different. Their developments are much different than an older baby, child, adult. So we have to watch what we call their sleepy cues, watch for their wake windows. At the young newborn age, it can make a difference between 2 minutes if we miss their wake windows. From a baby who might nap a little better to a baby who's going to be super fussy, get hard to get down because we missed that window. So if you try and do strict schedules and you're following that at the young age, you're going to miss their important sleep windows. You're going to miss those cues that they've given you. So really watch those sleepy cues. And I say write those sleepy cues down, because they can change daily, they can change weekly. It could be things more than just rubbing their eyes, pulling at their ears. It can be disengaging. It can be looking into a corner. There's a lot of things that go into their sleepy cues, and if you can get a good grasp on what they're showing you and you have that data, then you can go back and see where you need to tweak things. Are their windows changing now? Up until about 4 months of age, they can have, their sleep patterns can change weekly. And then once you hit 4 months of age, they can actually change monthly up until a year old. So you might feel like you have a grasp on something and literally the next week it changes. So that data is going to be really important to keep up with. The next thing we're going to talk about is rigid versus flexible schedule. So when can you start talking more about a schedule? So usually between 3 to 4 months is when you can see more of a nap schedule emerging. Again, at that age, it's still going to be a flexible schedule because their sleep patterns are changing. They're starting to say goodbye to the newborn stage. Their sleep patterns are saying goodbye to the newborn stage, and they're starting to develop now into what an older baby's sleep patterns look like. So 3 to 4 months, you can start softly seeing a schedule emerge. For instance, that you might see them waking more around 6:30 a.m. You might see that first nap of the day being at 8 a.m., 8:15 a.m. So you might start to see some of those patterns emerge around 3 to 4 months. Now, once you have a baby that, let's say you're at 6 months of age, 8 months of age, and you want to try more of a by the clock and get more of a schedule in place, those ages you can see more of a rigid schedule happening where they wake at 6:30, they nap at 9 a.m., they nap at 12:30, they nap at 2:30. Those are things you might see, and you may be able to, once you know have got closer to that 6-month mark and beyond, be able to see more schedules and set schedules emerging. Some babies will always go by wake windows. Some babies will do better with by the clock and more of a strict schedule. Every baby's going to be different. I have 3 children of my own, and they each did something different. One preferred more by the clock. The other 2 were more wake window babies. I still have my 3-year-old who naps, and she is definitely a by the clock with the nap, but as far as bedtime, she does more of a wake window. So she kind of does both. So it's easy to see both those happening. One thing that I want you to think about is, I see this a lot, is a lot of us feed right before the sleep, right before the nap. And it's okay if they're feeding right before it, but it's more ideal if we can create a little break between their feeding and when they go down to lay down for nap. Also, it's okay. The reason we like to space it a little bit, especially when you have young babies and they have immature digestive systems, if you go to feed and lay them right down, they may spit up more often. They may have more burping, more gas trapped in there because we didn't allow time from when they were upright to when they were laying flat on their back. So it's really important to remember trying to give some space there if we can. This is huge to set up from the early ages of newborn, is nap routines. We want to start putting in place, just like we have bedtime routines, you want to implement nap routines. They literally might be a couple minutes long, but those same cues that the baby's going to see before every sleep period in the day is really going to help them gear up for sleepy time versus awake time. The nap routines they see each and every day as they continue to get older, they're going to start really catching on to those routines. If you're talking about a newborn, naps on the go are very common. Naps while you're in the car, naps in the stroller, naps in the carrier with you, on you. Those are normal in the newborn stage to see happening. Again, babies are napping so often, they have much more erratic daytime sleep, so getting that sleep in place is what's most important. But as a baby gets older, we really want to remove as many on-the-go naps as we can, especially once you hit that 3 to 4 month marker. If your baby is used to sleeping in a car, used to always sleeping on you, used to always sleeping in a swing, they are going to expect that, because now, again, 3 to 4 months of age is a really great period that we can start working on more consistency with our naps, trying to work on them falling asleep on their own for naps, lengthening out some of those naps in the crib, those type of things. And if they are accustomed to always having those on-the-go naps, they're going to expect it as they continue to get older. So we want to avoid too much, especially once you hit that 4-month marker. Naps that are not in the crib are actually not as restorative. So the most restorative sleep happens in that crib. Once we hit 4 months of age, we really want to start working on removing those props for sleep during the day. And when I work with families and we've laid the sleep foundation in the evening, we've laid a great bedtime, we have overnight sleep going in the right direction, we can really start 3 to 4 months of age. I've had families be very successful with working on those crib naps, lengthening those crib naps out, getting consistent naps in place throughout the day. It's all a piece of a puzzle that goes together. And when we do that correctly, we're able to start working on naps and nap consistency in between 3-4 months of age. And then obviously some families come to me later and we start working on it 5-6 months and older. But we can really start working on it sooner rather than later when we've laid those good sleep foundations. So one thing you have to think about, a newborn obviously is going to nap a lot in the day. they're going to need to nap. But you need to remember that they still need to eat, and they need to make sure they're getting their calories during the day. So yes, it is okay to wake a sleeping baby. Even if people tell you don't do it, it's fine, and we need to do it. Now, if you have a brand new baby right out of the hospital and is coming home, they're going to sleep day and night a lot. But you need to remember that they need to eat, and you need to get those calories in them day and night. So if you're letting them sleep all day long, they're going to want to party all night, and then they try to take all their calories then. You need to balance that out where they're getting feeds in the day and their feeds at night when they're young and at the newborn stage. Now, as they grow and get older, and we're talking about an older baby, it's huge that you wake them from naps because say we have a 6-month-old who's taking 3-hour naps and they're not getting the calories they want. They're going to want those calories at night. Then they're going to be taking up too much day sleep, and they're not going to want to nap for you or sleep for you at night and go to bed for you at night. And we can start to see an effect of things going downward because you never wanted to wake the sleeping baby. But remember, yes, we have to wake the sleeping baby. That's always a good rule of thumb for their nutritional feeds, for them to get playtime in the day, for them to have stimulation, for them to eat when they need to eat. All those things are very important. Now, you need to, this is a big one that I talk about often, is understanding sleep expectations. Your 8-week-old baby is not going to nap at the time you want them to for the length that you want them to in their crib for every single nap. It's not reasonable. Newborn sleep and daytime newborn sleep is very, very sporadic. It's very specific what it needs. And what you need to focus on most at that newborn age is getting the day sleep in place, watching the wake windows, practicing how they fall asleep for the nap, helping them if they need to link the sleep cycles, letting them, nap in the car if you're on the go somewhere, napping in the carrier on you, because that daytime sleep is supervised, you're watching it, and just getting that day sleep in place is what's most important in those early newborn stages, so you can start working on the evening and the bedtime and the overnight sleep. It's very important. You need to make sure that you're creating a great sleep environment during the day. Naps and nighttime sleep are different. They're controlled by different parts of the brain. There's no melatonin set in place for naps. There's the different sleep pressure set up. So you need to make sure that you are setting that ideal sleep environment. Meaning, if a child is out of day-night confusion, so no more day-night confusion, then you can start making sure they're napping in a dark room, a quiet room, except for the white noise happening, window coverings on. You've created that good sleep environment for them. It's cooler. They have the proper swaddle on, or if they're in a sleep sack, they have the proper sleep sack on. And that's really important to make sure that you have the environment set up for them. Let's see. When we're talking about toddlers, it's important that if your toddler has removed the naps, that a lot of them still get a quiet period or a rest period. That is very important because we want them to still know that there's going to be a period in the day where they're just chilling out. It doesn't have to be for an hour. It might be 20 minutes, but it's going to be 20 minutes of their quiet period. And let's get real, we know that we as mothers need a little quiet period as well. So it's okay to implement that if they have taken that nap away and they're no longer napping. Jennifer has asked, can you talk about how to lengthen crib naps? Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into lengthening crib naps. Literally, when I work with family on just naps, it takes weeks to make sure we fine-tune it all. We've worked on the naps. We've worked on linking those sleep cycles. So it won't be a straightforward answer of this is step-by-step how you do it. A lot of times it takes me seeing what's happening every day. But one thing on crib naps is first is how they're initially falling asleep. That's your first battle. So you need to make sure that they are, you're hitting the wake window right. They're putting themselves to sleep for the nap, because if they're putting themselves to sleep for the nap, then we can start working on them lengthening and linking those sleep cycles. Now, there's a few things you can do, and it depends on the baby's age as well. But when if they're waking at a specific time, say they are waking at 28 minutes on the dot, Some things you can do is sometimes they just need to be lightly woken up about a minute or two before that. Just, touch them, rub them, kind of get them to move something. So when they move something, that can help them go into the next sleep cycle and can help move them into it. The next thing that you need to do is you need to figure out what you're going to do. If you have a baby who you can catch them right when they're waking, a lot of times you can help move them into the next sleep cycle. So you can go in and rub them and pat them and shush them and move them on into that next sleep cycle. I think that the best nap to work on is the first nap of the day, linking that sleep cycle. So what you want to do is you want to work on that first nap of the day in the crib. You want to get them falling asleep on their own. You want to help them lengthen and link that cycle on the first nap. And once you do that for the first nap and you've got that in a good spot, then you can work on the next nap of the day. So I'd really focus on that first nap of the day. Next question, my 5.5-month-old is now only napping for 30 to 40 minutes and is struggling to transition between sleep cycles. I know she's tired, and adjusting the wake windows. So hopefully you caught what I just was talking about. Also, if you're a part of my Serenity Sleeper Sleep Squad, my private Facebook group, I have an entire unit that is dedicated just to naps. There are tons of videos on naps, resources on naps. So I'd highly recommend if you're on there, if you want to head into that group, and I can tag you in those units, and you can actually watch additional information and help on that. But hopefully giving you some of that helped right there. Oh, Chloe, you're so sweet. If anyone's looking for a sleep coach, Kelly is your girl. She helped us with our twins who were awful sleepers, and they are amazing now. I love it, Chloe, and I love keeping up with your twins. And you are correct. Their sleep was not in a good spot, and we worked with them from a young age. They were around 5 months old when we started working with them and had them sleeping through the night. They napped like champs. So I love helping families get that important sleep. I know and then someone says, I know that she's still tired. I've tried to adjust wake windows. Good. I hope that helped you. You said that's great. Hope that information helped you. And also, like I said, if you're in Facebook, be sure to ask to join Serenity Sleeper Sleep Squad, and I can tag you in a ton of nap information that I have over there to kind of go further. So perfect questions, great questions so far. I really love the interaction and the questions with you. I'm going to get to now, those are a lot of nap tips we've talked about so far. I have a ton more to go, but I want to get to some of your questions before I run out of time. So the first question I'm going to answer says, our baby does well falling asleep on his own in his crib. However, he seems to be waking up more frequently for night feedings. He does always go back to sleep easily after, but also has a very early wake time. Is this normal, or should I work on trying to wean down some of the night feedings? And she said he's 4.5 months old. So at 4.5 months old, it's normal to still see 1 to 2 overnight feedings for a lot of babies. If he's waking and he's eating and he's getting a solid feed and he's going back to sleep for a good stretch of sleep, that means his body right now nutritionally probably needs those feedings still. Again, 1 to 2 is very normal. The next thing I would say, though, if you're seeing early morning rising, I would look into the daytime sleep. I would look to see what's happening in that daytime to see if that's affecting and causing early morning waking issues for him. But the feeds right now, I would say definitely are normal, 1 to 2 overnight, as long as he's eating and going back for a longer stretch of sleep. But I would want to focus on that early morning waking. I would really want to pinpoint what's happening there and see if we can adjust anything to get him. Usually early morning wakings have something to do a lot of times with the daytime sleep and what's happening in the day. All right. Oh, sometimes with the feedings, he will go back to sleep as soon as I start feeding him. Okay, so if he's doing that, like he's trying to just have a little snack, that means he's really trying to use the feed to get himself back to sleep. So what we would want to do is we want to really make sure when he's feeding that we, move him side to side, kind of burp him, talk to him to make sure that we could get a good feed out of him. And if he's not getting that solid feeding, like he's taking a good feed, you know that he's full, his little tummy is full, and he's going back into the crib and putting himself to sleep for a long stretch, then we would definitely have to look that he's using that feeding as more of a sleep association, or he's looking for it to just kind of satisfy him, kind of snack to help him back to sleep. So we definitely would want to work on that, and making sure that that feed is more of a nutritional need and not just a snack. I need this to kind of help me drift back to sleep. The next question, my little one's 7 weeks old, sleeps wonderfully, but only with me, doing contact sleeping. He doesn't sleep well with dad or on his back. We have literally tried everything for about a month and nothing is working. What can we do to help him sleep on his back for longer than 5 to 10 minutes? So in this situation, number one, this is where I would want to hop on a discovery call so I could get more one-on-one details from you, and then we could look from there if obviously there's more help that's going to be needed one-on-one from me, because in these situations there's a lot to look at with a 7-week-old. I was working today before this I have a new newborn client, and I was working on all of their sleep information. I was digging into hours worth of their sleep logs, what's happening with them, what wake windows are going to be right, how do we get them to fall asleep on their own, how do we get them to lengthen out that sleep. So that's definitely, I would want to chat with you further, because in these situations a lot of times the one-on-one help is needed. I would reiterate, if you have Facebook, to hop on Serenity Sleeper Sleep Squad, and I can tag you in a newborn unit. It's huge. I have a lot of newborn videos and a lot of information directed just for newborns. So if you are on there, it would be great. And if not, I do have a newsletter that I've sent out a lot. I send a lot of these videos out in my newsletter, and sometimes they're even on my blog on serenitysleepers.com. You can find blog posts, a ton of them. And a lot of times I will put these videos in the blog post and send out on my newsletter as well. And you can watch those and get the additional information there. How do you get a 3 to 4 month old to nap longer than 30 minutes? Hopefully you were able to jump on a few minutes ago when I was talking about all the things that you can start doing with naps. The first nap of the day is the best one to start working on it, and in some ways to start lengthening that out. Naps are developmental, meaning naps are going to come along developmentally around 3 to 4 age is the earliest that you can really start seeing those consistent nap times, start working on lengthening those. And then definitely anytime between the 3 to 4 month to 6 month marker is when, if you have a baby who's falling asleep independently at bedtime, sleeping well overnight, putting themselves back to sleep overnight, that's definitely where you can start working on lengthening those naps out and linking those sleep cycles. And I gave you some additional, a few minutes ago, ways to do that. And then again, if you want to hop into my group on Facebook, I can tag you on those unit sections. That will give you a lot of information and additional help for naps. Next is, how do I get my 5 and 2.5-year-old out of my bed in my room? They sleep in their own beds for about 2 hours max. Oh yes, that's such a fun age. I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, so I completely understand this age. So the one thing you want to do is you really want to set up a solid sleep environment. I don't know if they're sleeping in the same room together or if they're separate rooms, but a lot of times if you have siblings this age, sometimes moving them together and letting them room share is a good option. Sometimes they just want to be near someone else, and it can be a good option to give them comfort. The next thing is really changing up the evening routine and the bedtime routine and letting them start being a part of those routines and really start getting positive associations with their own bedroom. Then the biggest battle is making sure that once you commit to it, that you are ready for them to be in their room, that we've got to make sure that the sleep is happening in their room. They won't be coming to your bed any longer or to your room any longer, because then that just sends really inconsistent signals to them where sometimes I'm allowed to, sometimes I'm not. So setting that stage that this is where we're going to start. We're going to have, them sleeping in their own room, and going to start doing that from the get-go and not going back and forth. Again, I have a whole unit on a toddler section that I did a whole challenge a few months ago on toddler sleep. So join Serenity Sleeper Sleep Squad, and I have a toddler preschool unit that went in deep about all the areas that you can help and look into with their sleep. So yes, Tara, you are welcome. I hope that helped you. And you can find more information there and goes in deeper about the toddler preschool sleep. That's one of my favorite ages of sleep. Number one, I think because I have 2 children that age. One of my children, if you follow my journey, you know she has a lot of health issues and health problems, and we've had a lot of sleep struggles over her 5 years due to her health issues. And I think if I haven't gone through it personally, it would be shocking because I've pretty much seen it all with her, and it's really helped me over the years, help so many more families to have gone through things from newborn all the way till she's 5 now. So it's one of my favorite ages to work with just because I have a lot of personal work with her, and hers again started from the newborn age. So I've seen a lot. So I help families even through, yes, I'm a certified sleep coach. This is what I do for a living. I've been doing this for years, but I also am on the journey with you, and I've gone through so much with families along the way. So we had a lot to cover today. We had a lot of nap facts to talk about. If you missed this, I would highly recommend you go back and rewatch the video again because I covered a lot of information in this 30 minutes. And then we had a lot of really good questions today, and they seemed to a lot of them be around naps or linking naps. So that was fun to answer. Let me know if you have any additional questions or you want to hop on a call with me. I do offer free 15-minute calls. Again, that's just to chat with you one-on-one about your child, what sleep struggles are happening, how can we meet our sleep goals, what are your sleep goals, and how can we work together to make those happen and get sleep going for you in the new year. I have so many families that have already signed up and ready to go this 2021 and make sleep a priority. I know we all need it. It's so important. And another thing I really want to emphasize is so many of you have HSA and FSA accounts. Those are health savings accounts, so it's part of your health savings network with your insurance and things. If you have those accounts, you can use those. Most of those are approved to use for sleep services. So we have that money. Let's use it. A lot of us forget that we even have that money to use, and you can use it towards sleep services, which is amazing. So I look forward to chatting with you all again. Next Friday, I'll be here, same time. We'll have a new topic that we'll discuss, plus I'll be answering your questions live again. Let me know what questions you have so far. Let's get on those discovery calls. Can't wait to chat with more of you and learn more about your children and what's going on one-on-one. Hope you have a great rest of your Friday, and I will be seeing you all again soon.